recovery after an aortic dissection can be a challenge physically, however the psychological distress can remain. Once the trauma of the diagnosis, the treatment and time in hospital has been digested and you catch up with the enormity of what has happened, it is a very emotional and stressful roller coaster ride. So this talk is looking at the response of some of the aortic survivors of the Waikato. The effects of the aortic dissection are far-reaching. Not only is it a catastrophic event for the person, but it also has massive implications on family, friends and work. A wife of a patient told me she often wakes in the night just to check that her husband is still breathing. That friends say things like that he was so fit and healthy, and work colleagues were shocked that he'd never taken a sick day before and now needs a prolonged period to recover. It can leave those very close upset and dumbfounded that something like an aortic dissection has actually happened to you. When talking with people who have experienced an aortic dissection, there's a common thread throughout. They were going about their usual business, at work, the hairdressers, nothing out of the ordinary when their world changed in an instant. It was a sudden, unexpected and very uncontrollable pain through their chest, and all thought and indications were that they were having a heart attack. It was not to be so. When they reached hospital, there was a lot of interest, tests and busyness from the doctors and multiple medical teams, but there was a feeling as though no one was really no one was really telling them what was going on. And it's at this point that people told me that their mind started playing tricks on them. Also that time had stood still. There was definite clarity about the needing to be in hospital, but difficulty comprehending the information that was given. Most people told me they lost parts or most of their stay in hospital, and there were long periods of time that cannot be accounted for or remembered. For some it's just moments, for others days have just gone. At the same time they have multiple thoughts running through their head. What can it be? Am I going to die? Where's my family? But also, what am I going to tell my family because I don't know what's wrong with me? Also something like, has the dog been fed? So from very simple thoughts to complex ones in a very short time frame. Awareness, but also being completely unaware. And then there's the diagnosis. I think I might be out of, what is an aortic dissection? Having the discussion with the medical team about the best course of treatment. Is surgery a possibility? Are they going to treat the dissection conservatively? One person was told that the operation is too risky one day, but then told it's too risky not to operate the next. There's a lot of frustration, fear and anger with the uncertainty, yet having to trust the medical team in front of you, but again, not really being able to comprehend everything. Patients telling me that I just went into survival mode, just getting through it to get home, and concerned about jobs, finances and relationships. Once home, feeling quite overwhelmed and grateful to be alive, but the difficulty comprehending the magnitude of the situation, and angry that it's happened to me. For one man, sadly, 9 months on, the anger's still there, and he said it's the unknown that I'm finding difficult to get past. Who am I now? Is this going to define me? Also having to deal with taking medication, not understanding why and for how long, and not really wanting to take it. Aortic dissection isn't common, and as we've all found out today, and therefore finding out correct information can also be a challenge. Even some health professionals' understanding is limited, and therefore there isn't a lot of informational support out there. One patient told me they went to the GP to try and get further information, as they didn't know where to go, and was told to do what the surgeon said. Unfortunately, they couldn't remember much of their time in hospital and didn't know what the surgeon had told them. So this lack of support perpetuates that feeling of isolation, fear and anger. So not unexpectedly, there are common anxieties that are well recognised but not always discussed. Intimate relationships is one of them. So after an aortic dissection, tiredness, poor concentration, emotional labour and short-term, common short-term consequences. As are loss of libido or sex drive, and this can come from multiple causes. Emotional, tiredness, physical effects of the dissection and medication. Males in particular can have the inability to get or maintain an erection, and this can be due to the physical disruption in the pelvis, the blood supply, emotional fear of further dissection, the psychological, almost like a post-traumatic stress disorder, the neurological damage to the pelvic nerves and blood supply. But the key to overcoming this is to talk with your partner about how you're feeling. Your nurses, your GP or your specialist can also give you advice and refer you to someone. So not only do you have the scars to remind you of the dissection, but also the other physical effects, plus the fear of further insult to your body. Things that play on the minds of people interviewed were things like, is my life expectancy being reduced because of this? How long do I have? What limitations are on my life now? Can I still play sport, work in a labour-intensive job? Even walking can cause me problems. Will I ever be able to return to work? And will hard physical work put me at further risk or damage my repair? The accumulation of everything can lead to anxiety around what has happened. One patient described it as being like a ticking time bomb, too scared to do anything in case the dissection progresses or starts somewhere else. For some, guilt is a strong emotion, passing on the risk of aortic dissection to children and grandchildren and the implications that has on families. The physical recovery from surgery can be a prolonged period of fatigue caused by recuperation, anxiety, possible depression and or lack of sleep. All of these emotions are quite normal and can be short-lived or stay with you for long periods. If the feelings get to the point where they are preoccupying your thoughts, it would be good to seek help. This shouldn't be seen as a sign of weakness. After a life-changing event, we all react and respond in different ways, and our emotional well-being is as important as our physical recovery. We can't even underestimate the impact this has on our spouse and families. You may have suddenly gone from being the head of the family, the go-to person, mum and dad, who's invincible, best friend and confidant, to your spouse now being your carer. And what does that mean for them, for you and your relationship? Your spouse is also dealing with your emotions at the same time as dealing with their own. Trying to be strong for you, not wanting to burden you, however worrying all the time that something could happen at any moment. Because of the enormity and the ongoing emotional psychological effects of aortic dissection should we as health professionals be taking a different approach to support you as a group? The surgical team have a strong strategy by which they measure success through results and morbidity and mortality meetings. However, is there a need for a stronger patient-centred follow-up care and support, like a better recovery and recuperation information and support, knowledge on medication and lifestyle choices, knowing when and how much activity is okay, and perhaps access to a psychologist? And I guess as a group you have to decide what that looks like and what that means, because we know that there are always more questions than answers, but that doesn't mean we should stop asking them.